Joining me now, Genevieve Lentz, Technical Director for Table Tennis in Cape Town. She's on the way to the Olympics. Genevieve, welcome back to Sport Federation TV.
Hi, JP. Thank you for having me. I'm well, thank you. Yourself?
Not too bad. We keep saying it one day at a time. Difficult times for all administrators, or at least all sport people at the moment. But let's focus on you. The big announcement, you're off to the Olympics.
That is correct. I'm off to the Olympics, leaving on the 20th, off to the Tokyo Olympics. So Japan is where I'm heading.
So what I didn't know, which I probably should have known, and you mentioned it just before we went on air, is that this is your 4th Olympics.
It is. Technically, yes. So I I qualified as an international umpire in 2006. And as a rookie umpire, I would say, in 2008, I was selected to umpire at the Paralympics, the Beijing Paralympics. In 2010, I was then selected to the first Youth Olympics, and then in 2012, I was selected to umpire at the 2012 Olympics in London. So technically, yes, it's going to be my 4th experience. But in the previous instances, I was always officiating as an umpire. In this case, I will be officiating as a deputy referee.
And how many athletes have we got from that is doing table tennis going to the Olympics, or are we talking administrators only?
So I'm the only official from South Africa for table tennis, and then going to the Olympics. And then we have Theo Kogel, who is a para player. He will be going off to the Paralympics.
To the Paralympics. So I mean, this is an enormous. We've obviously hit the jackpot here. We're speaking to the one and only table tennis for the Olympic structure representing South Africa. I mean, that's enormous for us as a country, for you, for Cape Town table tennis to know that you're going. How does the table tennis fraternity feel about that? I mean, the whole country knows that you're the one representing them.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely the biggest and highest honor for myself. It will be the pinnacle of my table tennis career. And then, of course, for Cape Town table tennis as well. And then, obviously, also for the South African Table Tennis Board, for our country, and then most importantly for our continent, since I am the first female referee in Africa who qualified in 2017. So this is massive. I mean, the Olympic Games came about in 1896, and it's centuries later now that I'm the first female in Africa to go and represent Africa at the Olympics. So it's a massive honor. And then also in terms of the Cape Town table tennis fraternity, they are ecstatic about me going, and yeah, I'm basically taking all the well wishes with me.
I was wondering, have they started sending you a shopping list of things that you must bring back?
Absolutely. You know, it's table tennis balls, it's pictures with all sorts of people, players. You must understand. I mean, as in all sports, they follow these top athletes, and they've been following them for years. And the closest they've come to it is the screen or the YouTube. And I'm actually physically going to be there, so they are trying to get as many things and souvenirs as what they can. But unfortunately, as I did explain to all of them, is that we are not allowed to take pictures with any of the players, and neither are we allowed to take away equipment.
Yeah. This is, of course, an Olympics that is very different to any other of the Olympics before. We, in fact, spoke about this last week, that this is very much not a tourist opportunity like perhaps in the past where players could do a bit of exploration. Our understanding is that everything has been minimized. There are very strict compliance processes in place, and that you basically fly in and fly out. Is that the experience that you're getting from your side so far?
That is correct. So generally, it's obviously very expensive to fly around the world, and I'm very blessed to have had the opportunity to visit various countries throughout my table tennis career. And so what I generally do is I tend to go either a week earlier or stay a week on in the various countries. However, in this case with COVID, this is not possible because we need to leave the country. There are strict stipulations and rules according to the playbook, and I think there's a version 3 out now, playbook, which the LOC, the Japanese committee has set out, and it stipulates that within 48 hours you basically have to leave the country. So starting like already, they've sent stipulations. So I'm already in my 14-day isolation period where I have to have minimum contact with people. And then 96 hours before I actually depart for Tokyo, I need to have 2 negative tests, COVID tests done. So one within 96 hours and then one, I think, within 72 hours of my departure. On arrival in Japan, I then need to present my vaccination card, and I also need to present my negative tests. Only once they've received the negative tests, then I can then enter Japan. So then also, like you said, it's going to be very different. There's just yesterday, or they stipulated that there will be no spectators. And that's very sad because I feel that the players, they feed off the spectators.
Yeah.
And so that's obviously going to be one disadvantage of the COVID period amongst many others. But yeah, so it's going to be very different. And so also once we do arrive there, we can only take the transport allocated by Japan, and we are not allowed to take public transports. We are not allowed to go on tour. We are only to commute between the accommodation and our playing venue.
So either way, it's very exciting. The Olympics is there. I mean, like you said, this is what you're aiming for. I mean, we're so proud of the fact that you're going. That's the starting point, that you're actually going. You know, we've got you on the list, and the list that you've just ticked, I mean, some remarkable achievements there, Genevieve, from an African perspective, from a South African perspective, from a Cape Town perspective. I mean, we're so proud. We're so lucky to have you going. But let's talk a little bit about Cape Town table tennis. I mean, what will this mean for Cape Town table tennis? You've already mentioned some of the fact that you're getting mentions, people sending you messages. I mean, the Cape Town table tennis fraternity must be ecstatic. But you've got some fantastic opportunity here to bring back I mean, obviously you've got 3 years of three Olympics under your belt, so to speak, in terms of bringing back a legacy. But now you're going for a fourth, and your mention around the fact that you're the first woman doing this. This, of course, means a lot also for women's sport and women's table tennis.
Definitely breaking the barriers in terms of women in sport. So I'm honored to be an ambassador for women and to be in the starting blocks. You know, I still feel that sport is still very much, like I said, we say, dominated, patriarchal, and dominated by men. And the narrative is changing. It's changing very fast. And so I'm very happy that we are aligned with the IOC's policies in terms of gender equity and representation, and that the South African Table Tennis Board has kind of aligned themselves with the along with the African Table Tennis Federation to align themselves with the International Table Tennis Federation policies, and then ultimately also the IOC policies in terms of gender equity. So I think this is massive. I mean,
so we're going to see young girls in Cape Town start saying, "Well, we want to be like Auntie Genevieve. We want to be just like her, and we want to join a table tennis club in Cape Town."
Absolutely. I've been getting so many messages from our juniors out in our clubs saying that I'm an inspiration to them. And so I think, you know, what people generally need is they need someone to prove to them that it's possible. And now that it's possible, that, you know, that the impossible has become a reality, they kind of have the hope to and the inspiration and to achieve and to aspire in the same way. So I'm happy to be doing that, and happy to be a role model, and then, like I said, breaking the barriers in terms of women in sport, because we know that women face so many challenges to participate in sport. So an absolute win, and I'm happy to be championing it.
So if people are watching this right now and they see all this, how do they sign up? Where do they join? Where, I mean, we've got it on the ticker line. Is that the best place to go if they want to find out more about Cape Town table tennis? Is go and get hold of you guys on Facebook?
Absolutely. We have various clubs, many clubs. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, look, we've been out of table tennis because of COVID
Yeah.
and lockdown restrictions. We've not really been active during the COVID period. And so the last that we had on the books, possibly, I stand corrected, possibly 19 to 20 clubs in the Western Cape, or in Cape Town, not in the Western Cape. I'm not speaking about the Western Cape. Western Cape is much more bigger.
Yeah.
So in Cape Town, we have various sports all around Cape Town, and
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah.
get onto Facebook, and make contact with us in that way.
That's fantastic, Genevieve. We're going to leave it at that. We of course hope that we're going to be able to catch up with you possibly even before you leave. Don't just stay in that bubble right now.
I will try my best.
Yeah. But congratulations. I mean, we're so proud of you. You know, all of the benefits that come from this, and I think that it's also worth saying that we know that this did not come without lots and lots of hard work and lots of administration behind the scenes that most people probably don't always understand, and maybe don't always give people a pat on the back for. So from our side, we're well aware of all the hard work behind the scenes, and the work that you do yourself. So congratulations. If we don't talk to you before you go, stay safe and have an absolute ball. Take lots of photographs where you're allowed to, and we can't wait to speak to you and see you again.
Thank you so much, JP. Thank you for the well wishes. I hope to make you all proud.